Hello Flickering with family and welcome to our channel. My name is EJ and in this video we are diving into a movie review for one of Disney's last big movies of 2024. Disney has not had the strongest year. It's been a pretty up and down year, some good, some bad, but we are going to be talking about something firmly in the middle of that, maybe leaning more towards the bad. Yes, we are talking about the long-awaited sequel, Moana 2. Am I an adult man talking about a Disney movie, probably going to critique it not so well, that's probably more geared to little kids, specifically little girls? Yeah, I'm going to have to do this, and I'm not going to be too kind, mostly because this brought me back to a time period when I was a kid having Disney movies marketed to me. We'll talk about the Disney home video sequel conundrum that this feels like it falls into, but overall, I want to look at first how far we've come, not how far we'll go, how far we've come to this point. Moana is one of the biggest Disney Plus hits that they have. If you look at like the Nielsen chart, if you look at just like what's trending on Disney right now, Moana is forever in that list. This is like such a big thing, such a big touchstone. I do question why it took so long to get here. I do question why the sequel in this format. If Disney Plus seems to have been the biggest place for Moana, why not just release this straight to streaming like it was originally intended? This was supposed to be, I believe, like a small like series that they kind of pushed all these story narratives together for a film. It feels like that in a lot of ways because it's definitely it gets big, it gets explosive, but it feels so much smaller. It feels so like the acting, the premise, it just kind of feels been there, done that, a little small at times compared to what I would imagine that they would have wanted to do for a sequel. I thought they would have pushed this even further. By the time the movie ends, I'm like, oh, this is where I thought we were heading at for this movie, but it just seems like another like stop on a road for a bigger path. Maybe they have a big plan for the Moana franchise, but then they're also making a live action movie where they're just going to be rehashing the story from the first film, so we're like never moving forward in the progress. Moana as a brand just feels like it's so stuck. It just feels like it's exactly what we got in that first movie, and that's going to be it. And that works for the Disney brand folks. I know they love their Cinderella, their Snow White, their Little Mermaid that have all kind of had their very iconic one movies. Some of them have had sequels that are bad, that went straight to home video. We will talk about this. Oh my god, Moana 2 brings me back to Return of the Sea, Jafar's Return, the weird Snow White one. Isn't there one with time travel? We'll get into that. But yeah, overall, I just feel this movie came out at a time where I just don't think we need a Moana 2. I just don't think this movie has enough in it to really back up like watching it and going through all of this. I think it's a well animated movie. The voice acting is okay, but besides those kind of nice things that I would normally say for a Disney movie, Disney often looks great and has good voice acting. That's kind of like the bar. That's the bare minimum that they can do. I needed them to go above and beyond, and sadly Moana 2 is just stuck being If you're a millennial like me, you may remember the Disney straight-to-home video era. I'm talking about, let me read off some of these names: Cinderella 2, Dream Come True, The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, Tarzan and Jane, 101 Dalmatians, Patches, London Adventures, Atlantis, Milo's Return, Stitch the Movie, Lion King 1.5. Yes, this is that era. Remember that? This is what this reminds me of. Moana 2 is definitely one of those straight-to-video sequels, which isn't a bad thing if it went straight to video, if it went straight to streaming. But again, as a cinematic film, this movie is lacking. I really think Moana 2 just doesn't have the juice, doesn't have the aura, doesn't have the swag of the first one, because it was very popular. It was such a big deal. This one just seems to be kind of come and gone. That fan base is still there, but I don't think they're being fed well. It's a rehash. It's so much of the first movie. Moana 2 is just so much paint by numbers of what the first movie is. Like the main songs come at the right time. If you lay down Moana 1 and Moana 2 on the same timeline, it just feels like they are exactly the same. Here is the secondary villain song right in the middle, where we would have Shiny, we had the Bat Lady song here. We also have like the How Far I'll Come right before we go on the mission song. Okay, cool. We also have a villain who, you know, gets touched by the goodness of people and goes away, and then everything comes back together. It's like so, again, formulaic at the same time, which reminds me of those those straight-to-video sequels where they had to follow the formula, where they either just went on their own wacky-ass path that had no, like, sense, that made no connection to the first one, or they just simply remade the first one, but times 2. That's what this movie is times 2. Well, we'll add more people onto the boat. Well, we'll add a bigger villain. It's not just an island, it's now a cloud, it's a storm, it's the ocean. Oh, okay, cool. Like, it's just a lot of what we saw before. And yeah, if you're a big Moana fan, maybe you just want to see the same adventure done with a new, like, template over it. It's like when people play video games and it's the same video game every year. I'm talking about you sports people, and you're like, when is the year that they're going to spice up my football game or my pro wrestling game? And I'm like, yeah, they're never going to do it. It's just going to be the same game over and over again, but we still buy it. Same much like these Disney sequels sometimes. It's just the same movie, but they're not always like this. Toy Story 2, Cars 2, a lot of these weird-ass sequels that they've done in Disney aren't the same movie rehashed. It just feels like they fell back with this one. They went to their old tropes. They went back to the 2000s and gave me straight-to-home video sequel vibes, and I don't think that is what Moana deserves, but that's what she ended up getting. Is Moana 2 watchable? Sure, but I would not run out to the cinemas for this movie. I think there's way more inventive, fun things to be watching at the movie theaters right now. I think this screams watching it on Disney Plus during the holidays with your friends and family. That's what this movie kind of deserves. I definitely don't think it has that theater element. Watching it in my press screening, the little ones were kind of bored. Maybe the last 30 minutes I started hearing a lot more like little kids talking and kind of getting restless. And I was even getting restless myself because, again, I had seen this movie already. I had known what they were going to do. Oh, wow, the all is lost moment, blah, blah, blah. It's so paint by numbers. It's so there. So, again, it is a watchable movie. I do think it looks gorgeous. I'm always going to be amazed that they animate water as well as they do, because I'm from an era where water was the hardest thing to make look real and natural, and now they're actually killing it. I love the look of this film. I love what it does for this love letter to Polynesian culture. I love all that. I love what this movie stands for. But the actual execution, the final product, I definitely think Disney let the Moana fans down and overall just made a pretty bland, unoriginal, uninspired movie that we've seen 100 times before, but now we're just going to sequel it up. I don't know, Disney. Maybe we should have just left this for streaming and worked on putting another more original film out. The original films aren't working, though. Pixar's not working. Disney's in this weird flux with animation that I understood why they wanted a sequel, why they wanted something safe and secure, but sometimes too safe, too secure makes you seem boring, and it just doesn't give me a reason to push people out to see this movie, because I definitely think Moana 2 is fine on Disney Plus, Thanksgiving, Christmas night, cut it up with family. It's good there, not for any other time, I think. With the movie lacking some memorable songs, an overall story I don't care about, and a rehash of everything we've seen before, yeah, I don't really recommend Moana 2 on a rush out to the theater basis. I will always say, if you want to see a movie, go see a movie. It's just a critic's opinion, but I definitely think I would save some money on this, or maybe go see another movie in the theaters this weekend. Wicked is definitely still doing really well. Maybe you didn't see Gladiator. Maybe you want to see Conclave. If you don't want like a kid's movie, but you want something a little bit more, make your mind wonder, that's a good film. That's PG or something. There's definitely movies out there that I think are more worth the watch than Moana, but if you're one of those people that are like, oh, my AMC list needs a movie, Moana 2 will not hurt you, it will not bother you, it's just going to be there, and that's what I didn't want for the movie. I didn't want it to just be there. That I think Moana as a brand deserves a little bit more, but maybe the live action movie that we're seemingly gearing towards, because then why did we make this movie? What was the reason? Because we're just gonna do a live action one. Maybe just wait till the live action one. Save your Moana bucks until then. Alright, everyone, that is it for my review of Moana 2. What did you think of the review? What do you think of the movie? Share your thoughts down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and make sure you subscribe to Flickering Myth for more videos just like this. Alright, everyone, let's talk about Moana 2 right down below.